Alrighty, so to begin this off, I'll start with some statistics. So from the national arrest figures in the United States, they range over to be at 100,000 arrests for prostitution. And it suggests that over 1 million people in the United States have worked as prostitutes in the United States, which is about 1% of the American women in the entire United States. And if you think about that, that's 1 million people. That is a lot, and the industry of prostitution is something that is huge and booming. Just because it's illegal though doesn't mean it's not going to be here, it's not going to happen. It's kind of like the opposite. It's similar to like the prohibition, how we made alcohol illegal, it just increased the boom of it. It's similar to prostitution, how it's extremely, just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's not still being done in areas around the world. And prostitution is seen in like our current day society as something that is a plight against humanity or immoral and destitute, according to standards received of female sex workers as health educators. And for those millions of females that are like prostitutes, they all have the negative association and connotation with them that they are immoral and destitute, which isn't exactly true. Now, to extend some of the further claims that Blake made, so with prostitution itself, there's a lot of benefits that there come to be with legalizing it. Since making it illegal won't get rid of it, the best we can do is make it legal and help control it with the government's aid. And the way we'd be doing that would be with licensed premises. According to Prezi.org on the article, prostitution should be decriminalized. Properly licensed premises would mean that the worst aspects of sex trade, child prostitution, trafficking, and slavery, and the exploitation of vulnerable people could be tackled, which is something quite important. So with that also comes, with the government watching over, how Blake was saying, we would have, if it was legalized, the prostitutes would have to get a formal ID, and with a formal ID, there would mean that the police in the area would be able to ask for the identification to make sure that they're actually licensed to be prostitutes, and with that itself would help decrease the amount of child prostitutes, according to Margot McDonald from Ravelry. And that's something that's pretty important because a huge part of prostitution is, and a big concern of it is the child prostitution of it, or the child trafficking. And that was something that'd be able to be covered with the FDA stepping in to take control with that. Another thing that the opponent brought into was that the prostitutes don't want to come out to the police because they feel scared, or they don't take anything further into court. And the reason because that is because they feel scared. Oftentimes, as Blake brought up a couple examples with the police officers saying, you're a prostitute, you expected to get raped. So that really just helps just enforce the idea that these prostitutes are just feeling terrified to come out, and they feel like if they do go to court, that they'll be in a court and a jury of their peers, and as such they'll be judged by everybody there, and they'll feel as though they're subhuman than the rest, when in actuality they aren't, they're just doing their own job. And then there says that, and then the opponent also talks in saying that that there's no way to actually really protect it, and that it's hard for the police to do that. And that's something that we don't exactly agree on. So in certain examples, like for instance, the Netherlands, where they have designated red light districts where prostitution is legalized, according to Raymond and Catherine, so these areas where sex workers are given an area where they are safely taken to their customers in their so-called red light districts. But its existence can help reduce crime and enhance the women's safety. And now the reason because of that is the police officers know where all the prostitutes are. They're all going to be in one area. So where she's saying they can't really protect it, that's true. The police officers aren't going to be in the room while the prostitute is conducting business, if you will. But they will be on the streets out front, or out front of the brothels, of course, being ready to help. Unlike how it is now, where women would be on the side of the street in some abandoned street, and they have to call for the police, and it takes hours for them to get there. That's different now because the police officer would be right out front, ready to be immediate aid to the women. And so the reason why, why we want it to be legalized, or why we think it would be a good idea, is because oftentimes the prostitutes that do get their money, they receive very little of their money. The control they get from their money off of their job that they do ends up being consumed up by their people higher up, the people who run the prostitutes or the pimps. And that's according to Ruchira Gupta of the Failure of Anti-Trafficking Efforts. An example of some of the benefits would be, like I said, the Netherlands. Netherlands is the one of the more positive looks of the prostitution. According to Margot McDonald's of Reveille, with the legalization of prostitution in specific red light districts has lowered the rate of criminality associated with street prostitution because of, and she goes on, and some of them being the intelligence that the police have built up in the area. So overall, if it's all in one single area, it really does help the police officers be there and be able to be on call whenever something is, so there's faster reaction times. And she talked about, my opponent talked about further about the negative aspects being like the STDs and how they spread. That is true, that prostitution does, obviously with prostitution comes STIs, and there's no way to go around that, but the only thing that we can do, like I said further, is legalize it and then try to condone and influence them to promote the ideas of safe sex with condoms and such things like that. And that's about all I have to say. Thank you.